Everyone, and in this video we are going to see again another question from UPSC GS1 Mains 2024. So the question is, estimate the contributions of Pallavas of Kanchi for the development of art and literature of South India. So here we have to estimate the contribution. So we'll have to keep certain things in our mind as well while writing the answer. So how will begin the answer? So if you look at the question, if you look at the directive thing here, the word estimate is there. So whenever something like this is coming, it means UPSC is asking for a very balanced approach from you. So first we'll see how we'll move with the answer, then we'll see the points as well. So UPSC is seeking a very balanced approach from us. And where's the focus subject? So if you look at the focus subject, again it is they're talking about what art and literature. So the focus subject for us here is art and literature. So हमारा answer जो है that will be revolving around that thing. ठीक है? So art, literature, paintings and all those things. And of course, Pallavas of Kanchi. So here there is one hint as a hidden as well. Like if you look at the capital, so we can mention this Kanchipuram as the capital and the cultural center of Pallavas. So now let's move towards the model answer, that what all points we can include in the answer of this question. So if we begin with the intro part, so we'll begin with the very basic things, of course, that the Pallavas of Kanchi. Better if you write the date अगर आपको याद हो. So 6th to 9th CE I will write here. So they played a very important role. They played a very a foundational role as well, we can say. They played a foundational role in shaping South India's artistic and literary tradition. Now this intro thing have given us the idea, have given the examiner an idea that what we are going to talk about. So we are going to talk about the contribution of Pallavas in what? In art and literature. Okay, so now let's move towards the the body of the answer. So we'll first begin with the art contribution. So you can say ki, uh, if you have studied this chapter, if you know about them, so they pioneered in the stone temple architecture. So we'll begin. We might begin that in art they pioneered pioneered in what? In stone temple architecture. Stone temple arc. So I will be writing the short words only because I'm not going to get it checked for someone. This is just for you guys for your reference. Now, if you're talking about the stone temple architecture, so we can give certain structural examples as well. Temples के example हम लोग दे सकते हैं, like the Sore temple. So again, this is a keyword for the answer, so we'll underline it. Sore temple and Pancharatnas, Rathas. Where? Mahabalipuram. Mahabalipuram. So, what does this show? It shows us a transition from rock cut temple to structural temples actually. So, we can mention this thing again here, that it shows a reflection, it shows a transition actually, transition from traditional rock cut temple to structural temple. Rock cut temple structure to structural temples. Okay. Now, of course, if these things are being developed, there must be certain rulers. So, who are the rulers? We need to discuss them as well. So, two rulers are going to play prominent role. First, Mahendra Varman first and Narsingh Varman first. Mahendra Varman first and Narsingh Varman first. So under them, this temple structure it became, it they refined this temple structure thing. So it became more refined. It was narrative based, है ना? And it also nurtured Tamil saints. So हम, since there are temples, तो कोई ना कोई saint होंगे, तो उनका भी हम लिख सकते हैं. Upper and Sambandar. So this is enough for art section. Now let's move towards literature. So now this second para for in literature. Now what was their contribution in literature? So they patronized both Sanskrit and Tamil. Sanskrit and Tamil. So they are patronizing two things. Here there is a contribution of Mahendra Varman first. Here again Mahendra Varman first. So he authored a Sanskrit play. So we'll mention that as well. But a Sanskrit play named Matta Vilasa Prahasna. Matta Vilasa Prahasna. So this is a keyword for us. Again, we will underline this thing. Matta Vilasa Prahasna. Okay. And Kanchipuram, the capital, I said it's important. Kanchipuram became center for learning. Okay. One more thing happened here, that bhakti movement. So bhakti movement actually flourished under their rule, the rule of Pallavas. So bhakti movement also flourished. We have already mentioned two names here, Appar and Sambandar, so it's about that. Okay. So their patronage of scholar, temple building, and inscriptional tradition, these things led to the cultural bedrock for the future dynasties like the Cholas, because that will be coming next. So now we are moving towards the conclusion. So we can say their patronage of scholar, temple building, and inscriptional traditions laid the cultural bedrock for future dynasties like Chola. And thus we can say that this Pallavas of Kanchi, they significantly enriched the South India's culture and legacy through their art, art form and literary contribution. So that will become our final concluding like that. Thus the Pallavas of Kanchi, they enriched the southern India's cultural legacy through art and literature. So very simple and sober answer in 150 words. I know handwriting might be an issue, but you just need to listen what is being said here as well, and then take the approach. So I will suggest you to write the answer in your own words. I'm just giving you the idea about how to write the questions. Now let's move towards the second question. So the second question for us here is, what were the events that led to the Quit India movement? Point out its reasons. So we'll again check out how it went. The first we'll take the approach again. Let's look at the approach. So what's the directive word here? The directive word, what were the events? Means, it is asking you to, find the cause. So the answer of this question is going to be based on the cause thing first. Okay. So causes or events that actually led to the this movement. Then we'll move towards the resulting as well. Okay. And we'll have to again keep it very much balanced and so that we might we may touch the political aspect, we also touch the economic aspect, and the wartime impacts as well. So let's again move towards the model answer. So let's move towards the model answer. So we all know, when did this Quit India movement started? August 1942 it started. So we'll write as the Quit India movement. Better mention the date, August 1942. It was launched due to a series of wartime political developments. Was launched due to a series of wartime developments that deepened India's discontent with British rule, or that increased India's discontent with British rule. So that increased India's discontent with British rule. So this is our intro. Now, since the question is again demanding about the same thing, like that, we have to look at the events. So let's put a heading here, that what were the events that led to the movement. So events leading to the movement. So here is a bullet point for us. First thing we can say, failure of the Cripps mission. Failure of the Cripps mission. Now here we will not explain the entire Cripps mission and all those things. So Cripps mission, it came to India in 1942. And, so we'll just mention that they offered a dominant status thing to India, and that Indians, they were not happy from this thing. Like, the Karachi session of Congress, from there only we moved ahead of this dominant status thing and all those things. Then India dragged into World War II. So we had already learned a lot of things during World War One. Indians, they had learned. So British declared wars on India behalf of India, without any consultation from Indians. So we will mention this thing only here. Okay. Then of course, if any war is going on, economic problems. So what happened? Economic problems. So we'll mention about that. Wartime inflation happened. Food shortage was there. Unemployment was there. है ना? And all these things led to what? Misery of the public. So again, just fulfilling the demand of the question. Then of course, all these events and the things that were happening, it will create, raise the impatience of the public as well. So raising impatience. Okay. So earlier, people, whatever the movements people did, they were peaceful in nature. However, these peaceful protests didn't brought any. They were not very fruitful for Indians. Not fruitful for Indians. So now, what they wanted immediate independence thing. So this thing also, paved the way for the Quit India movement thing. And then, last but not the least, the Japanese threat. You cannot forget this thing. The Japanese threat. What happened? Japan, they were advancing towards India. So Indians had this fear that British government, they would not be able to control Japanese forces, and if that happens, it might be possible. It will be a problem for the. It will be a issue of. It will become a national security issue for Indians. Okay, so these are the events. Now, what were the results? ये भी तो देखना होगा हमें. So in results again, if the movement is going on, so what will happen? Widespread protest. Widespread protests, and of course underground activities also happened. So across India, this thing happened. So we'll mention that thing. Then a lot of Congress leaders were arrested at that point of time. So we need to mention that thing as well. Prominent Congress leaders were arrested, and British government also became very violent. to suppress the movement. Government su- suppressed the movement violently. Okay. Okay. However, despite this, repression, it was clear that the British rule, it was lacking the legitimacy, and that's why it pushed them closer to the withdrawal thing. So we'll mention that thing as well. That despite repression, it showed that British rule lacked legitimacy, and that thing pushed the British Raj towards what? Towards withdrawal. So these are the result, है ना? And that's why this movement, now the final thing, that this movement marked the final mass resistance before independence, because this was the final mass resistance. So conclusion will, a very short conclusion, the movement marked the final mass resistance before independence. So these are the two questions, and I hope you understood that what should be the ideal approach for writing the answers of the mains and all these things. You have also got the idea as well. So keep studying. If you have doubts or if you want to know anything, you can put the comment as well. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.